All right. Welcome, welcome. It is episode 12 of the Lead Poison live stream. We do this every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we're doing another sort of mashup. Today we're doing a crossover with the Xenomorph Queen. Give me a second. We're doing a crossover with the Xenomorph Queen and Darth Vader. So I'm just wrapping up my rough composition in my blue line. I'm gonna start dropping in the clean pencils right now. And one moment. And yeah, this is gonna be a black and white piece. It's not gonna be super like complicated, but because of the nature of the two subjects in the piece, it's going to be a heavy ink drawing. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing with the details will be very minimal. Right, I'm still going to give it a gray wash in the background so that the Xenomorph Queen and Vader do pop in the shot. All right, so yeah, let's jump right into it. Once again, I want to thank everybody for popping in. If you're coming in from YouTube, if you're coming in from Facebook, if you're coming in from Twitch, I greatly appreciate the views. If you're on YouTube, make sure you give me a sub, a like, a comment. It helps with all the engagement. You know, if you're on Twitch, also, give me a follow. We do this every Monday, like I mentioned. Right. So get right into it. Let's open up. There you go. I wanted to be able to look at the Twitch chat. All right. So a lot of this is going to be heavy, heavy blacks, heavy silhouettes, right? But I'm going to add some small details to give a little bit of shape language in the forms, right? I'm thinking, well, just visually, I want it to feel very dramatic, very, you know, it's what I'm looking for. I hate it when that happens. Dark, gritty, right? I want it to feel like Vader stumbles upon like this nest of xenomorphs, right? So this will be this right here, right? And have the lightsaber extended like so. So here. So the handle of the lightsaber is going to cut into a lot of the black that I'm going to have sort of like bellowing right behind him, right? I'm gonna see if I can pull off doing a few different light sources. Because obviously there's the lightsaber, and then there is the light that's in the environment. Right? So a lot of this, I'm just gonna ink all this down as if it were mostly all silhouette. And cut out some areas for negative space where we would get some light hitting these films. There was Vader. Vader's not so shiny, right? Unless it's like the helmet or like the armor that's on his shoulders. But the alien queen, like her head, a lot of the weird, I guess, like tubed aspects of her anatomy, right? We'll have some highlights to it, or the cylindrical, I should say, the cylindrical aspects of her anatomy. Just so for obvious reasons, right? Like I'm not gonna go into too much detail with Vader's mask. Everything going on in the scene, with the exception for like what I want to do with the background and the lightsaber itself. A lot of this is all black anyway, with some very small exceptions in detail. So the direction that I'm going is one where Vader is using the Force on the alien queen. So simply dropping some very subtle or just light detail, so that I know where I can use some negative space based on where the shadows are going to drop. Where I'm going to add my highlights. Right, so the pencil phase will be relatively quick. Shout out to everybody that popped in on the previous stream. First sketch card done on lead poison. I look forward to doing more of those. It was interesting. It was a Super Sentai character that I'm unfamiliar with, but it was really, really fun to draw. We've got some wrinkles here, everything's like that box. Vader's chest. Buttons. I'll keep that relatively subtle. Right. That pattern, like pattern on his outfit. Let's say we got light source on the head. Right, and that would be his cheek. So then, based on what I remember from like the Alien movies, like the xenomorphs tend to like lay their eggs in like caverns and like little rocky terrain and such, right? Like little caves that feel kind of dank. So that's what I'm thinking about doing here. So it'll be like a cave, with like it'll be like a little fog uh, around the base of where Vader is standing, and then, like I'll have an open xenomorph egg here, like a face hugger egg open, right? Like a bit of the slime. Maybe another egg here. So now, mm, should have been to the queen here. Now, because of the size, I'm obviously not going to do like a full body sort of render of the queen, but just based off of the size, we can already identify that it's like. So one of the things that's always like I've always found kind of disturbing is how you know these xenomorphs have like human-looking teeth. It's always been something that I found like unsettling. I don't think I've ever noticed it before, but like they have human-looking teeth. But maybe that changes from like life form to life form. We're gonna do the Queen's hands for claws. And back to wrist. We're gonna go off page. This will be in the background. So we create a little bit of depth. Silhouettes. I think I'm gonna gray those out since we're gonna have so much black. So we're gonna have so much black in the image. We're gonna gray that out so that we get a little sense of depth, right? In the forms here. I'm going to drop the tail in the foreground. I like the idea of like the tail sort of like framing both her and Vader in the shot. So because it's in the foreground, we're going to detail this just a bit. All right, little segments. It almost resemble a spinal cord. Right now, a little thinner down here. That'll be base tail, not the base, but the tail. So we'll do separate the segments here. We kind of round out bottom. And then a lot of this I'm going to push into shadow, but because, I want this area of the tail to sort of reach into the light. So I'm going the extra mile of detailing the segment in that part there. Get the rest of the landmass to come down to about there. Segments of the tail will sort of like flatten out a bit. So once again, thank you for everyone for popping into this episode of the Lead Poison live stream. This is episode 12. We do this, I do this every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, in the description, if you're interested in commissioning me and having the art done live on an episode of Lead Poison, there is a link in the description. Right? That'll take you over to my Etsy shop where I have plenty of commission options. Right? Everything from your standard 9x12s, which is what I'm working on now. This is a 9x12 in black and white. Sketch card commissions that include color. I use both the standard trading card size as well as postcard size, and sketch covers, all kinds of stuff. Soon, I'm going to be adding some prints and some stickers. Right? And as always, if you have something in mind and you don't see it offered in the shop, we can always like do a custom order option. Very, very reasonable when it comes to my pricing. Just hit me up. Right? Should be the bulb egg right there. Right? So this will be the other silhouette of the leg, the right leg. Perspective. Going back like so, but we're gonna have some fog and maybe some dust. I can do a little bit of an ink splatter there. All right, now it looks like we're ready for some ink. Grab my brushes. For my ink rendering, I'm going to be using a pencil pocket brush. These are damn indestructible. One, two, like this. We'll be using this Tachikawa uh, pocket brush as well. The ink in that is very, very dark, very black. And we're going to be using an O1 micron. Right? I typically like using a dip pen. I know you guys have seen me use a dip pen very, very often on the stream. But you know, I'm in the process of inking some comic pages for a book project that I'm on. I wanted to give the dip pen a rest and sort of expedite through this commission piece. So actually, let's drop in some some of the larger blocks first. So starting from the left side over to the right, just drop in my heavy shadows are going to be. All right, just kind of eyeball the art as I render in through it. A lot of what I do, how I do it, is improvised. Right? I mean, there are cases and have been cases where I'll plan every detail, every aspect of the art. But in cases like this, I'll like improvising, kind of work out those visual muscles and how things are communicated through the art with that that skill of improv. I do like the idea of capes of like bellowing a little bit. right? To kind of emphasize the use of Vader's force powers. Leave a little bit of negative space in certain areas where I want to, sort of drop in some line art that'll kind of give a bit of separation in in the elements of Vader's anatomy. So we're gonna push shadows there, but then right here, that's gonna be where we get some of that light sort of reflecting in on the bottom of Vader's cape. Right. So then get in here, get some of these like deeper terminal lines in Vader's helmet. Vader's always been a really fun character for me to ink, just because of all of the shapes that one can communicate or can pull out of all of the black surfaces in his design. You know that it's easy for one to like look at Vader's design and almost see a lot of the details sort of like melt into one another because everything is so uniformly black. However, however, what's good about it is the parts of his design that are matte, right? Where we get that sort of like change in the surface texture. Let's move that up just a little bit. Pull it out. Yeah, that's good. So here, I do want to imply a lot of the ribbed seams in Invaders like the fabric in his outfit. There's wrinkles in there. We would get a drop shadow underneath its shoulder plate. And we'll continue down the arm. So in this part right here, I'm simply just filling in a lot of the larger black areas, and then come back and add a little hatching and detail some of the finer aspects of Vader's form. Right. This is going to be a very very quick stream. Right. Composition work. The composition I kind of already had in mind. But I think what's going to sort of expedite the process and the rendering here is the fact that both subjects are essentially black, right? And unless Vader is in a really well lit room, they're gonna read pretty much the same, but some highlights, like kind of shiny. Like that, cross it over. Right now, let's get his arm in. For any artists that are watching this now or watching it later, I highly recommend you get into doing some ink work that requires you using a brush, right? To kind of develop that muscle control, right? There's nothing like inking with a brush, and rendering things in a new way. Feels very unconventional yet like natural at the same time. Cut into the shadow there just a little bit with the base of that leg. And then we're gonna get the fabric. Vader's got sort of like that like waist fabric that shrouds around his legs. I'm gonna drop that in there nice and solid. And then yeah, I think that's good. That's good. That's gonna cover it's gonna cover the upper thigh. So we should get a little bit of a break over by the belt. All right. And filling around the handle of the lightsaber itself. I want to give the impression that that fabric that hangs around his waist is sort of like whipping around, just like the cape. All right, in there, around the hand, and boom. So far, so good. Work into the leg. All right, that'll be around the knee. Leg, crowd. little bit of light reflecting off that from the lightsaber. There we go. Do the same thing here for me. And I'm so sword. Dropping the drop shadow here underneath Vader. Keep scenarios negative to imply it being sort of a rocky-ish kind of terrain. Add some of the ink out from the shadow. All right. Let's finish off Vader's hand here. All right, let's get the shadows on the inside of the gloves that would sort of cast on the forearm. And we drop some decent line weights on the terrain. Right, some heavier line weights that we can always refine with the micron afterwards. All right, so now let's do the Alien Queen. I do like giving her a bit of a terminal line, hitting the top of, or close to the top of her skull. Using the way the brush will sort of start to grain out. So that it reads like that curve in her head and neck. this is going to be black. Right. Same rules apply to the jaw. Right. And then there's always like these like cylindrical sort of appendages in the neck. Like in there. The rest of going into the body. And then there's more cylinders here. Now, the body will be bold. We're going to do the body nice and bold, but we're not going to get into too much detail there. So that when we get to the shoulder here, and the hands, right, we're going to get a little more detail visibility. That's going to go into the claw. Right. And even still, like, even though I'm using this brush, I'm still going to come back in here and do some finer details with the micron. Just getting into the larger fills. All right, this pinky thing goes back. Bring that claw down a little bit. Now all of this will drop into shadow. Drop a bit of hatching in there. Push this back. Get a bit of a terminal line there along the edge. Thin line weight in there with the brush, right? And then what else? We can put some heavier blacks here. Nice dark terminal line on the shoulder. sort of like unify that shoulder going into the chest cavity. Right. And start to separate the upper arm. So far, so good. So far, so good. So now I'm going to do the same thing down here with the tail. Right, that for the moment. Actually, I think I could use a bigger brush. Nah, let's see how this works out. See how this works out. Get the little separation in the segments. Shadow in there. Start to transition some of the shadows over to the other side of the segments. All right, let's get that in there. That'll give us that sort of pleathery shine that the Xenomorph is so known for. Once again, I want to thank all the viewers that are popping in to the stream. We're broadcasting live to Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch fam. We're broadcasting live on YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube followers. You know, if you're new to the stream, be sure to sub. Shoot me a comment. Shoot me a like. We do this every Monday. Every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Right? In the description, there are links if you're interested in getting a commission, as well as a means to finding me on Instagram, Wild Inks Ken, as you see it on your screen there. Or you can simply just Google me, Ken Calderon. So we are almost done with the tail. A lot of this is just filling in areas that will be shadowed. Right. Now, let's give it a quick once over. I think we're done. You know, we can get into some of the finer details. The finer details, and then we can drop some of the grays in there. I think I might need something a little thicker. Just to start with, just so we can kind of get a nice little variety in. All right, because this will give me a nice hatched in gray. we go. So I'm going to be moving the paper around a little bit just so I can get these angles in. All right. Very important that you not be afraid to move the paper around if you're inking anything, inking pages, if you're inking artwork, commission pieces, what have you. Right? Don't be afraid to move the paper around so that you're in a ideal position for the stroke. Okay? Let's get the back of the arm. And some glove there. A little bit of hashing so we could get that sort of like fabric, leathery sort of texture. Let's get a curve right here. And drop a little bit of hatching under here so we get the illusion of there being a drop shadow under Vader's jaw, would be jaw, I guess. Separation of the plate there. This can go into shadow. Right. It's going to be the knee plate that's attached to his boot. We'll get some boot down here, drop a little bit of hatching down there as well. Right. So far, so good. Let's get a little bit of this leg in there. There's a little bit of shadow in there, but we still want to keep we want to maintain the shape of that back thigh. Be mindful of the line weights, right? Those line weights are going to be crucial for delivering that depth that we want to convey in such a minimalistic piece. Punch this a little bit evenly. Get in here a little darker and pull in some more of folds in the cape. So far, so good. Sharpen up some of these shapes here. Let's get into the lightsaber a little. Round out the base of that hilt. And get some of the details in. I'm gonna hatch in some of these glares in his helmet. That all of the glares in Vader's helmet tend to read very circular. You know, not too many angles. Smooth out a bit of that hatching at the base there. Up in some shadows around here. This will be close to the end of a lot of the rendering here on Vader. Now, a lot of the inspiration behind the way I ink is Frank Miller, old school Frank Miller. Current Frank Miller, not so much. He's I don't know. I think he's lost a bit of his stuff, right? But I loved what he did with Sin City and the way he would use a very high contrast way of inking, right? So that is the inspiration for the overall look of this piece right here. You know, very Frank Miller-ish, old school, OG Frank Miller. Let's get some of these wrinkles. And the details and stuff. I guess, chest up. That, would that be accurate to say? Maybe block out too many details for adding. So far, so good. All right. Be mindful not to block out any crucial details that'll give you a separation in the anatomy. Right? and patch in some of the terminal lines there so we get that nice cylindrical reading in the lightsaber. Alright, it looks like we're almost there a bit. Patch in some of the leg in there. Just a sliver of negative space in there so we get that nice separation in the arm and the leg. Right? And then let's hatch upward. Move the lightsaber. Right? There we go. Hatch along the base there. Now, in the event that I happen to drop in too much black, I can always come back in and drop a little white ink in there to pull out some more of the negative space. Right, and I'll be adding a bit of gray to this piece, a little bit of a gray wash, but I don't want to rely on the white, right? So I want to make sure that I give myself enough, I guess, halo of negative space amidst my black values to convey that shape line that I want. Right? Let's see. So now let's jump over to the alien queen. And we get some wrinkles around the upper lip as it curls. All right. Let's get the teeth in there. The top of the mouth there, the open mandible, and then detail the teeth sitting in the gum. So then we got a bit more of the mandible in there. And the teeth along the bottom arch and the curl of the lip. So now with these areas, right, to sort of continue supporting the way it's very smooth and almost uh, cylindrical and polished, right? We're gonna gently hatch back or away from the face, so I get like that greeny line to show a bit of that glary shine, that we see in the alien heads. Right? And then right in here, we're going to do the same thing, but because this is cylindrical, we break it up, hatch in some terminal lines along the edges, and round out the next. Repeat the process. Nice sliver there along the edge, sliver of negative space, meaning back. You get that highlight right there. From back here, hatch forward. So now it feels like that point is like the highest point of the curve in this part of the queen's anatomy. Right? We'll do a bit of it down here as well. All right. And then here along the face. There we go. So actually, while I'm here, I'm gonna use a thinner line so that we can get the other shoulder of the alien queen's silhouette in there. Right. We're gonna do this in one, break it up into two mini pieces. Right. And then that would be five, five. So here, this is foreground. So it's going to be a little heavier. Right. So the terminals. And the finger segments feel kind of bony. 10. Right. Get in here, get around this. So out there. And let's get on that forearm. A terminal there. Boom. Little hatch. Now let's pull out a little more shape in this upper arm. There we go. We pull a little bit of this back into the wrist. All right. So far, so good. So now let's apply the same principle over to the tail. Right, and the last thing we're gonna do is the ground details. This little stuff right here. We'll do the little ground details and then finish off with the gray wash. This will be pretty straightforward. Just maintaining the pattern, looking like a spinal cord. Right. So now with that, let's attach some mid-tone values into the tail. Right? So we get a little added depth to the tail segments. So I'm playing around with the lighting in the room. All right, that gives us a nice bit of depth. Nice. Do the same over here on this side. Keep it off to one side of the segment. All right, and now let's push some of that down so we can kind of complete tail here. All right, let's see here. All right, so the tail is about done. And now I think we can drop in the details for the foreground here. Not the foreground, the midground. Right? I do like rocks and just pebbles. Right? Get some of these hatching marks on the ground here. Right? Play around with the values a little bit. So it feels a bit bold. All right, nice and dramatic. Kingdom, what's good, brother? Happy Monday to you. Gonna have an update on that for you before the week is out, and I got shoot you an update on a new thing that just kind of fell in my lap. Can't really talk about it on stream, but you know what I'm saying, something that you might be interested in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But you know, I got a couple things cooking, and there's a new thing that I just got delivered. As a matter of fact, that you might be interested in. So I'll message you about that off the stream. We're getting in this Xenomorph versus Darth Vader piece right now. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, that I've had the good fortune of getting some heat dropped in my lap. So this this thing that I have pending to tell you about is kind of a big deal. This is 9 by 12. This is 9 by 12. Client commissioned, straight black and white. So this is going to be a nice one and done piece. Right? I'm at the oof, I'm barely at the hour and a half mark, and I'm almost done in. I'm almost done with all the inks, and we're gonna wrap this up with a bit of a gray wash. But I mean, I was saying it earlier in the stream that sometimes when I get commissioned to do something, a lot of the time I'll have an idea already in mind, right, for what I'd like to do with the composition. But most of the time, it's straight improv. But with this one, I kind of had something in mind already. So it was a question of just kind of just executing, right? And then this and then nice and straight. So I was able to bang out the composition for this really, really fast. And then because of the nature of the subject, right? Because it's Vader and a Xenomorph Queen, right? Both of them are well black. I mean, it was pretty easy, right? To kind of put together something that feels visceral, you know, something that complements both franchises, right? No pressure, no pressure. I'll hit you up. We'll text. But yeah, we're out here almost at the hour and a half mark. This is I kind of anticipated this one to be pretty fast. So here we're gonna do the uh, face hugger sort of egg sac or the egg. Right, these details in just to kind of have it read so as so as it looks like the flaps are bending outward, right? And then some some circular marks, right? Maybe some of the slime right, inside the egg sac there. Right, and here we can get in there a little darker and get some of the textures in there for the egg. Right, we're in good shape so far. Bam. There we go. And then other egg here. Bring in a bit more shadow the base of the egg. Good. From there, we can hatch in a grayer value. And push that that egg more so into the background. And get a little bit of that more base of the egg texture. And I don't know for sure. I'm just kind of improvising. Right? And then a bit of a the way I have. So these a bit better. We'll clean up some of the pencils. And this will be ready for the gray wash. And then this will be another one in the book. Oh, there it is. I'm going to get some of the slobber from the aliens. All right. So now let's get the gray wash going. Let's use a big brush. And let's get a little dab of ink, some water. Keep going. Let's get a little bit of water, and then we should go. Let's use that one. My trusty ink brush. A little bit of black ink and water it down a little. A little bit. Let's get a little more ink in that. I'm not gonna go too dark. I want to have it feel kind of murky, kind of cloudy. Just a bit cloudy. All right. Drop a little bit of the gray on the ground. All right. So now with this next bit, I'm going to go a little bit darker in the value here, just so that we get a separation from the background and the silhouette that we want to convey here in the alien's body. Right in here, I'm just going to dab a little bit more ink into my wash. So I can make this shadow a bit darker. And we can do the same thing up here. Now some gentle shadows inside the eggs. And that should do it. There it is. Darth Vader versus an alien queen. Follow me on Instagram for the finished piece. I mean, it's done. I just gotta touch up some areas, but if you guys follow the Instagram, you'll see a high-res scan of the piece without any fuzzies or anything, right? Also, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you look in the description, there's a link where you can commission me and get the artwork done on a future episode of Lead Poison. We do this every Monday at 7. Dropping stuff. And we do this every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Facebook, Instagram. Oh, well, not Instagram. Live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Soon to be on TikTok as well. So follow me. Wildings Ken also on TikTok. Right. All right, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next Monday.